This is the final part of how to begin asking questions in the series Listen, Move, Think. As you recall, the first thing that we do is set expectations, making sure that it's a physically and emotionally safe environment. Level 1 questions are to help students feel safe in giving an answer. Level 2 questions are taking a specific idea and extending that through variation of what if questions. What if you had a balloon and it floated, where would it float? So you have the world as your oyster, so to speak. This particular video now will deal with level 3 questions. What can you do with a balloon floating and move the conversation in one of 3 directions? You're going to move it into social studies, you're going to move it into mathematics, or into science. Those are the 3 core areas of any curriculum. Language arts, reading and writing, is simply a set of skills to help you learn in one of the social, the mathematical, or the scientific realm. Let's take our example of a balloon and take it one more step. Again, this is simply an example. Nothing more, nothing less. So we have a balloon. Remember, it was something soft that you were moving with your nose as you moved around, or something light. I guess it was light. I can't remember. Anyway, one answer was a marshmallow, the second answer was a balloon, and the third answer was a cotton ball. We chose balloon, and we asked the children, if you had a balloon, where would it float? And they give you a bunch of answers. Before we go on, let's move back a step. Recall that you stay at level 1 questions. What were you thinking about? Until everyone is safe. Their ideas are safe and will be respected. Likewise, you're going to stay at level 2 until children can easily take someone's idea and move it 1 degree away. Until someone can come up with an answer, however logical or illogical it is, to the question, if you had a balloon, where would it float? Or if you had a balloon, how big would it be? If you had a marshmallow, where would it be? And so on and so on and so on. They have to feel comfortable in coming up with an invented answer. A little bit of creativity. And until they get to that point, and again, I can't tell you how long that's going to be, until they get to that point, don't move on. Let's assume that that's already happened and we're moving on to level 3. As with anything in this series, you always begin with level 1 and you move up to level 2 and then 3. It's the pacing. So with level 1, if you're actually focused on level 3, begin with level 1. Think about something as you move through space, listening to the music. Then you play the music. What were you thinking about? What were you thinking about? What were you thinking about? 3 or 4, what were you thinking about? Select one. Ask, if you were this, if you were this, if you were this, or whatever it is. Get a few responses. And then move on to level 3. So lickety-split, maybe in a minute or 2, you should be at level 3. A level 3 question is going to deal again with math, science, social studies. I'm going to focus on mathematics. How long would it take your balloon to travel to wherever you said it was going to go? Some possible answers might be 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 2 hours. It could be varying time. It doesn't really matter. The point is, information or ideas are getting out there. Then you could say, oh, so who is traveling the farthest? And we know that there are a lot of variables that are going to affect how a balloon floats. So you could ask your children or provoke them to think, well, what happens if it's a windy day and the wind is blowing the other direction? What's going to happen then? Gives them something to think about. What if I tied a rock to the end of your balloon? How would that affect it? How long would that take? How long would it take your balloon to travel wherever it's going if you tied a rock to it? The other thing is a student might say, my balloon is going to float down the hall to the front door, and that's going to take 10 minutes. And another child is going to say, my balloon is going to float to my grandmother's house in Wisconsin, and that's going to take 5 minutes. Okay, well, if going down the hall is 10 minutes, and you're talking about going farther and farther and farther than that, what will that mean for the time? Trying to get them to logically figure this out. Mental games, mental gymnastics. And that's the level 3 question. Getting kids to think about things. And the idea is that they are thinking about their ideas. You are adding variation to their ideas so that they have something to think about. Level 3 questions have to do with adding variation on a theme. A theme of floating balloons, the theme of how big a balloon could be, how long it would take to inflate the balloon. These are some of the questions that you can raise. Now, the questions you raise are going to be based on the curriculum or the standard or the agenda, the academic agenda that you're moving to. If for example, if your lesson or your focus is on measuring, then maybe the question is going to be something about measuring. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. If it has to do with adding things together or something like that, maybe your question could be about that or some aspect of adding things together. My point is, as I leave you, that level 3 questions lend themselves to sort of a sponge activity to cue students to get ready for a certain academic concept, just by playing these mental games. It doesn't have to be used this way, listen, move, think. It does not have to be used this way, and it can. If you need to use this gross motor activity with a conversation that leads to a particular idea within mathematics or science or social studies, this is one way to accomplish that. There are many, many ideas in the volumes in the Listen, Move, Think series, and as I get to more ideas, I will make more videos for YouTube.